Hello. I wanted to give an update on my brain surgery. There were a few complications. The tumor was quite a bit larger than what they thought it was going to be. So the surgery took a couple hours longer. Took 5 hours instead of 3. It was wrapped around my spinal cord, and yeah, it took a lot more to remove it than what they thought. Um, After it was over, they could not get me awake. It took 12 hours for me to wake up. Um, and when I did wake up, I couldn't see, and I was violently ill. The surgeon said that I had symptoms like they had cut into the cerebellum, but it's just where they had to apply so much pressure removing the tumor. So everything was blurred. Like I couldn't, like in the beginning, they said my pupils were not even responding to light. Um, but even when I did wake up, I couldn't see. I could see light, but everything was just completely blurred out, and I was incredibly dizzy. And any sort of movement at all, and I was just throwing up constantly. And I hadn't ate or drank anything, so it was just bile, and it was dry heaving, and not a fun time. Um, and this lasted for probably 2 days. Um, After a couple days, I got to where I could see out of one eye at a time, and it didn't matter which one, as long as I covered one of my eyes, I could see somewhat clear. So, um, somebody, I got an eye patch. So, with my stapled together head and eye patch, it's safe to say I can cross off Frankenstein Pirate off the cosplay list. But so that was an improvement to where I could actually, see somewhat. But unfortunately, right around that time, I noticed the tips of these two fingers and this thumb felt weird. Um, and that weird feeling quickly progressed to not feeling them at all. And then they turned deep purple, like the whole part, this part of my hand turned like it looked almost black. Um, I developed a blood clot from the line they put in the artery to monitor your blood pressure. So that sucked. Um, and for context, for what I'm about to go into next, in 2020, I developed a kidney stone, and this was like the worst time to develop a kidney stone. Um, the small rural hospital here couldn't do surgery, and all the other hospitals were full. So I laid in the hospital for 10 days before they could transfer me. And on the 11th day, the night before surgery, I ended up passing the kidney stone. But the nurses there that had a kidney stone and had a baby all told me, like, I would rather have a baby any day as opposed to the kidney stone. So I thought that I knew something about pain. I spent 10 days with a kidney stone. I thought I had a understanding of it. But when they started me on the blood thinners and the circulation started coming, and the clot, I guess, started breaking up, nothing could have prepared me for that. I imagine it's I've never had frostbite, but I imagine it's something like that, because when the circulation started returning, it's the most brutal pain I've ever, like, it is right up there with the kidney stone. Um, so yeah, then that was another several days dealing with that, on the blood thinners. Um, put my hand into, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a thing that inflates, that they use for surgery to keep people like warm and circulation going, and that seemed to make a big difference. Um, but yeah, it was not a fun time. So after that, and it's still not, like, the tip of my index fingers still, it's not quite right, but it's miles better than what it was. And I'm grateful, like, that I didn't lose my fingers and my thumb, because it was like, the doctor said I scared them. Like, it was really bad. Um, so even if this doesn't come all the way back, like, I'm happy with this. So but because they had to apply so much pressure, it is, my balance, like, I couldn't walk, couldn't stand after the surgery. Um, and then I went from not being able to stand to using a walker, and I'm just now getting to where I can sort of walk. I can walk without the walker, but, like, I'm very unsteady, which is troubling, because my entire job is walking on hiking uneven, rocky, mountainous terrain. So struggling to walk on flat ground is, it, it's been hard. Like, but I just got to trust the process and have faith. You know, the improvement is slow. It's much slower than I would like, but I'm grateful. This really puts things into perspective, this whole experience, you know, of the things we take for granted. Like, I couldn't see, you know, I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. So to get those back, it really puts into perspective all the little things that we take for granted on a day to day basis, like just being able to function. And you know, I don't think suffering is a competition. And even if it was, I wouldn't want to win that competition, you know. Uh, so if you're suffering, just hang in there. And I don't think any one person suffering, like you're the worst, like if you're going through the worst time of your life, it's still the worst time of your life, even if it's different than what I'm going through. I don't think that it's a competition, but so that's pretty much where I'm at. Um, I just got the staples removed, so that's good. The incision didn't get infected, so there's, that's a plus. Um, Gonna be starting physical therapy soon, so hopefully that makes a difference. And that's that's where I'm at. It was a lot rougher than I expected, but I survived, and yeah. And if you're going through your own tough time, it's going to be all right. And here's to you.